Athletics. My name is Crystal, and I'm here today to welcome you to talk about the Liptastic game for Grand Canyon University men's basketball. And this was on Saturday. We had a game, and it was a game. It was not one of my fun games, but it was a Liptastic game just the same. We were now on Thursday, we were in Cedar City, Utah, and we played Southern Utah University. So we ended up just taking a short little 50-mile drive, 50-mile bus ride to St. George, Utah to play Dixie, that used to be their name, Utah Tech University. And so in a way, it was kind of weird because it was technically a road game, but we didn't go very far. Whereas the players for Utah Tech on Thursday were in Seattle uh, playing them, and then have to fly over and be back in time. It's a little shoot around, be back in time to play us. So it's kind of weird, but it's okay. I'm not mad at it. Okay, we got started, and I think we got the first point or two, first ball or two, and then it started going bad. And they were scoring. We got some points, but they were scoring, and it's like they were shooting threes like they invented it. It was insane. Had this one guy, I mean, he was just popping off threes like crazy. And we couldn't stop him for some reason or other. It was awful. And we, on the other hand, could barely shoot a three. You know, I mean, if our life depended upon it, we'd end up dying because we couldn't shoot one. It was bad. And we got to about 9 points down. And I messaged my buddies and I said, if we go into a double-digit deficit, I'm muting the sound and I'm going to go back to editing because I still hadn't, at that point, I hadn't published the Thursday video for Southern Utah yet. I was still editing it. So I said, I'm just going to work on editing that if they're going to have this double-digit loss, if they go down to 10-point loss. Well, it went down to 11-point loss. It's like, okay, mute. I don't want to hear Michael Potter. I don't want to hear Paul Coro. I don't want to hear anybody do anything. I left this time I was a little different. Well, because I edit my videos and I do my videos on my phone. So I couldn't, so I had editing my phone and I had the laptop on mute with the game going. And I would glance at it every once in a while. But that was at my own risk because it was bad. It was just so bad. It made me feel ill looking at that score because I knew we were better than that. It was just, in the first half, we dug about a 16-point hole at one point. It was that bad. And then we started to do what we always do and wake up and say, hey, we're GCU men's basketball. We're better than this. Come on. We're supposed to win, for crying out loud. And but that was a 16-point hole. So, but we got better. And, they had a little timeout. And from what I understand, Coach Drew told Ray Harrison, hey, listen, that the Mr. 3-point shooter guy who's already hit 4 threes, you got to figure out a way to stop him. He's like, okay, coach, got it. But you still have to make your buckets and do everything you do too. Okay, coach, got it. So there's that. And we ended up, it wasn't good at all, but we finished the first half with a 10-point deficit. We had 27, they had 37. And largely, it was a 13-point loss, but Gabe McLaughlin at the last second actually scored a three. I said we weren't shooting threes, and we pretty much weren't, but every once in a while we got one, and we got one that time. We got a three. It's like, yay. But still, 10-point loss. I'm like, I can't. Because here's the thing. We were 13-1 going in. We were the celebrated, team in the WAC. We were it. And I didn't want a 13-2. I just didn't. It just didn't sound right. That's just me. And I also didn't want to be hearing like, oh, that's the school that beat Grand Canyon University. I didn't want that I just didn't want it. I wasn't ready. That's why I said it kind of made me feel ill, So I just distracted. I did two things. I distracted myself by editing the video for last Thursday's game against Southern Utah, at Southern Utah, I should say. And I messaged all my prayer buddies, said, please, please, please pray for my team. Please pray for my team. Now, I know some people say, why do you ask somebody to pray for your team? Because, the other team has mamas who pray for them too. And I'm like, yeah, I know, but I'm not going to worry about them. I'm going to worry about my team, and I'm going to ask my people to pray for my team. And, I understand that, God's not a magic genie who does things like that, but you have not because you ask not, so I figured I could ask and then leave the rest to him. So I did. I prayed and I asked my friends to pray. And halftime was over. They came back, and it wasn't pretty at first. We did, we went back down for a little bit, I think, from 10 to 13, I think. And I say I think because I wasn't watching in real time. Not really. I would kind of glance, kind of look a little, and, it was funny at one point, my math was off, and I think I saw something like 39-46, and I think I calculated it as being like a 14-point deficit instead of like a 7 or whatever. So there was that also. But yeah, we were slowly getting back. Ray Harrison was doing a phenomenal job guarding this 3-point king Utah Tech had. And he didn't do another 3-point the rest of the game because we stayed on him, and he still managed to he got a 3 as well. I want to say he got 2 threes or something like that. But he also got a lot of points was he knows how to draw fouls and got to the free throw line a lot and shot points that way. So he managed to get 16 points even with all of this, Gabe McLaughlin, that man is a beast of a player. Godly man, great sense of humor, but a beast of an athlete. And he ended up collecting 4 fouls of his own. So he did have to sit a little bit, but he still managed to finish the game with, let me check my notes just to make sure. Yeah, that's what I thought. 23 points. Through it all. In fact, he even had one massive dunk that is Sports Center worthy. It's like he's just angry at everybody, So, and to do that with 4 fouls, don't get that number 5. You got to stay seated. So he did good. He did good. Tyon Grant Foster. People, I don't think they really know what to expect of him. They hear of his reputation and they're like, oh, he's going to walk around and constantly, whatever he does, he's going to hit a bucket. Well, sometimes he doesn't hit a bucket right away. And they're like, oh, Tyon Grant Foster's not what's advertised. Well, hush your mouth. Hush your mouth. Tyon Grant Foster is what's advertised. He's just not what you imagined. Because at the end of the day, he got 20 points. And, after a while, I was kind of like glancing over to look, and we finally flipped the switch, script where we were up a point. So I turned the sound back on. In fact, one of my basketball buddies said, Crystal, I hope you're watching now because we're in the lead again. And like, yes, I'm watching. Thank you. I even tweeted out something. And I want to give a special shout out. There are two people who didn't score double digits, but they just meant a lot to me, that I want to give a special shout out to. One is Luke War, and because he's kind of back bit on the back burner, if you will, but he's silently really getting things done, and he got 6 points, which we badly needed, um, and blocks and things of that nature. And then there is the 2022-2023 WAC preseason player of the year, Javon Blackshear Jr., aka Nuna. He got 2 points. Now that doesn't sound like a lot, I know. But first of all, when you're in a game where you're fighting for your life, if you will, every point matters. Every point matters. Number one. Number two, he's been in an injury for a year, so he's coming back and getting in real game time with real players and things like that. I appreciate it. And he lended some defense that was needed. He did a lot of good things. He's a very shrewd player. He's got a lot of stuff in here. So appreciated that. So yeah, we did. And fortunately, because of how we bounced back, it made Utah Tech players turn the ball over a lot. They just kept losing it, And from what I understand, they did that 21 times. Sorry, not sorry. And so, it got good. We got the lead, and we kept the lead. And when it was all said and done, they finished the game with 65 points. And GCU finished the game with 75 points. We went from a 10-point deficit to a 10-point win. Who does that? We do that. That's just downright liltastic. Now, I get it. Games like this are the source of much anxiety. I'm not a fan of them. It's I rather an easy win. I kind of like Southern Utah's win better. It's a little bit more predictable. I like predictability. I don't get knots in my stomach that way. I prefer that. But at least we do come back with a win, and at least all those other nightmarish things I had in my head, they're not a problem. So we are now 14-1. Our only loss this season has been to South Carolina. Imagine that. We're 14-1. We won on the road, which is really hard to do. A lot of other top-ranked teams did not win on the road this weekend, but we did that. And that's amazing. We did it twice. Awesome. Which now brings me to our game we're going to have this Thursday. We're going to be back home in our house with our people at the Global Credit Union Arena in Phoenix, Arizona, which I always love. And we're going to have a theme. It's going to be Western theme. So I'm going to get me a little cute little Western t-shirt and a little hat. And I might say howdy, something like that. And I'm going to have a little fun with it. And change it up a little bit. So it'll be cool. So yes, that'll be Thursday, January 11th. We'll have that. I'm looking forward to it. So with that being said, I hope you liked the video. I hope that I was able to convey some of the ups and downs and roller coaster experiences of the game. If you felt that way, if you enjoyed it, don't forget to hit that like button. And if you have not already done so, please subscribe to the channel. I'd love to have you. And hit that notification bell so you know exactly when I drop a video. And put some comments down below. What you thought of the video, what questions you might have. things of that nature. Anything that comes to mind, I'm happy to know it because I'm just thankful that you're here. And then also, while you're putting comments and things like that, don't forget to check into the description because I'm going to have little goodies in there also. I'll have an article by Paul Coro. I will have another full game video by the Draftmatic. I'll have a highlight video from GCU's men's basketball. I'll have some little things like that going on. It's a lot of fun in that spot. Dig in, enjoy it. So, as I said before, my name is Crystal. You have been watching me talk about the Lubtastic game, and Lubs up!